I didn't cry in the church. People always imagine that's the moment when a woman's heart breaks clean in half between the aisle and the altar. They picture the tears pooling, the organ swelling, a tragic collapse into grief. But I sat in the third pew, my hands folded like an obedient child, and watched the man I had loved for 7 years, the man I had fed when he was hungry, sheltered when he had nowhere to go, carried through storms when he couldn't stand, marry my best friend. Her veil looked like a cloud he had chosen to disappear into. His smile was borrowed sunshine, and the vows, I recognized their cadence before he spoke them, because I had written them, once, for us. Words about loyalty, surviving storms, shared bowls of soup in cold winters. They fell from his lips like strangers, and I counted how many lines were mine. 7.7 lines for 7 years. 7 years of building a life I thought was ours. 7 years of staying through the panic attacks, the job rejections, the nights when he whispered that I was the only thing keeping him afloat. I didn't cry then. I memorized the facts. 7 years, 7 lines. 1 betrayal doubled. I met Noah when I was 21. I was juggling 2 jobs, holding life together by its seams. He was 23, broke, driving rideshare at night, teaching himself to code from YouTube videos. The first time we spoke, he looked like a question mark begging for an answer. "Can I sit here?" he asked in the break room, tray wobbling in his hands. "Sure," I said, because sure was my default. He told me he'd moved to the city with 2 duffel bags, that his mom called once a week to make sure he was eating real food, that sometimes he slept in his car because the couch he rented made his back hurt. He said it like a confession, and then like a joke. I laughed the way you laugh when you decide to take care of someone. 3 weeks later, it rained hard, that kind of cold rain that slices between seasons, and I brought him home. I made him soup. On nights, he was rejected from job interviews. I stayed awake with him until the birds rewrote the morning. When he landed his first tech job, he hugged me like I was oxygen. "I couldn't have done this without you," he said. I believed him. Leela had been my best friend since 7th grade. We were the kind of girls people joked were 2 halves of the same person. When I told her about Noah, she squealed into the phone. Finally, a man with substance. She met him at my apartment, carrying cheap champagne. She hugged him a little too long for someone she'd just met, but I was busy plating pasta. Soon, the 3 of us had our rituals. Friday nights at the sticky-tabled bar. Sundays with board games no one cared about winning. Sometimes, she'd send him a meme and include me in the thread. It was harmless. It felt harmless. Then Noah's uncle died. He flew home with grief packed into a carry-on. When he came back, he was different, quieter, sharper, in strange places. The panic attacks returned. I would wake to find him sitting on the bed's edge, breathing like the air was rationed. I made soup, tomato basil, chicken noodle, ginger broth I swore could cure anything. He'd smile weakly and say, "No one takes care of me like you do." Maybe that was the first lie. Maybe it was a wish. That spring, layoffs hit his company. He was spared but shaken. He started talking about finding a mentor. "I know someone," Lila said one night. "She's brilliant. A career coach who turns people into the best versions of themselves." She forwarded him an email from coach@guidedgrowth.co. The subject line read, "Sharpening your edge without cutting what matters." Noah's first session was a Tuesday night. He came home saying, "She's incredible," and something in my chest tightened. The coach told him to cut distractions, curate his relationships, focus only on what pushed him forward. He began staying late for co-working sessions, stopped coming to our Friday nights, stopped eating my soup. Leela gushed about the coach too, quoting her like scripture. "Loyalty isn't a growth strategy." She sent me screenshots of Noah's revamped resume with heart eye emojis. I smiled, even as my stomach knotted. By summer, Noah had shed old friends like old skin. He missed my cousin's graduation because people like me get noticed now. I wasn't sure if people like me still meant me. Then came the receipts. An Uber to Leela's at 1:12 a.m. A boutique charge, a note on his phone titled Vows. Keep it simple. Keep it true with lines that sounded like mine. When I confronted him, he accused me of policing him. Leela told me to let him evolve. The night it ended, rain streaked the windows. Noah paced. I love you, but I'm not in love. He said Lila thought we should separate before we hurt each other more. I moved out. 3 days later, a gold save the date arrived. Noah and Lila at the wedding, their vows stole my words. I didn't cry. Months later, a stranger emailed, did your partner ever work with a coach named Maren? I dug. The domain, the payments, the LLC, all led back to Lila. The coach was her invention. She'd used it to cut me out, feed him her influence, and steal my vows. I confronted her. She didn't flinch. Words are free. Noah isn't a puppet. No, I said. He's an instrument you learned to play. She smirked, like she'd won something. Weeks later, Noah called. The coach had vanished. I told him the truth. He cried. I didn't. I thought you'd be kind, he said. I was, I answered. For 7 years, I didn't choose revenge, I chose distance. I started telling my story into a microphone. Healing was slow, like pulling out splinters. If I marry again, my vows will be short. Not because I've run out of words, but because I finally trust the simple ones. I choose you. I choose me.